Here are the 9 contestants preparing for today's show. They've all been on the programme before, but in each case they only managed to play for one round before they were voted off as first round losers on The Weakest Link.
Welcome to The Weakest Link. The 9 players behind me have all been here before, but their first visit was brief. They only managed to play one round before they were voted off. This is their second chance to win up to £10,000. As always, they'll have to work as a team, but 8 of them will leave with nothing, as round by round, we lose the player voted the weakest link. Let's meet the team.
I'm Morris, a bailiff from Manchester. Last time I was here, I only answered 2 questions correctly.
I'm Neil, 24, from London, work in marketing for an oil company, and last time I was here, only got 1 question wrong and was still voted off.
I'm Kelvin, I'm 35, from Shoeburyness in Essex. Last time I was here, I just got 1 question right.
I'm Gail, I'm 27, from Manchester. I'm a credit controller. The last time I was on the show, I didn't get through the first round. I was voted off unanimously.
I'm Scott, I'm 36. I'm a food consultant from Sutton Coldfield, and the last time I was on the show, I didn't get any questions right.
I'm Tish, I'm 38. I live in London. I work in advertising, and last time I got all my questions wrong.
I'm Debbie. I'm 36, I'm from Harrogate, I work at a cart centre. The last time I was on, I answered 1 question incorrectly, banked £300 for the team and was still voted off.
I'm Carol, I'm 51, I'm from Ilford in Essex, and last time I was on, I only answered 1 question correctly.
I'm Barry, I'm 51, I'm a professional fireman from South Ruislip in Middlesex. On the last show, I only answered 1 question wrongly, but was voted off after a tie.
Can only get better. Let me remind you of the rules. In each round, the aim is to answer enough questions correctly to reach your £1,000 target within the time limit. The fastest way is to create a chain of 9 correct answers. Get your question wrong and you break the chain and you lose all the money in that chain. But if you say bank before the question is asked, the money is safe. However, you start a new chain from scratch. Remember, at the end of the round, only money that has been banked can be taken forward. In round 1, there are 3 minutes on the clock. We'll start with the person whose name is first alphabetically. That's you, Barry. Let's play The Weakest Link. And the first question is for £20. Start the clock. Barry, in the beauty industry, which M is a professional carer for hands and fingernails?
Manicurist.
Correct. Morris, is the fabric astrakhan derived from sheep or llamas?
Sheep.
Correct. Neil, complete the title of this 1993 Jilly Cooper novel, The Man Who Made Husbands What?
Jealous.
Correct. Kelvin,
Bank.
in the animal kingdom, is it true that rabbits have 2 pairs of upper incisor teeth?
No.
Yes, it is. Gail, in music, is a piccolo a woodwind or a string instrument?
Woodwind.
Correct. Scott, in which decade was the actress Dame Judi Dench born?
The 1920s.
The 1930s. Tish, would you find the alimentary canal on the moon or in the human body?
In the human body.
Correct. Debbie, in which decade was instant coffee invented?
The 1920s.
The 1930s. Carol, paella is a traditional dish of which country?
Spain.
Correct. Barry, which musical set in Vietnam is based on the story of Madame Butterfly?
One Night in Bangkok.
Miss Saigon. Morris, what is the largest of the Balearic Islands?
Mallorca.
Correct. Neil, in modern science, is time the 1st, 2nd, 3rd or 4th dimension?
First.
4th. Kelvin, in clothing, would a cowboy wear his chaps above or below the waist?
Below.
Correct. Gail, which actor played Danny in the 1978 film Grease?
John Travolta.
Correct. Scott, with which of Her Majesty's forces does Prince Andrew serve?
The Navy.
Correct. Tish, In history, which Scottish king won the Battle of Bannockburn in the year 1314?
Robert the Bruce.
Correct. Debbie, what's the main religion of Morocco?
Islam.
Correct. Carol,
Frank.
in music, which is the lower female voice, soprano or contralto?
Soprano.
Contralto. Barry, in America, PA is the postal abbreviation for which state?
Pennsylvania.
Correct. Morris, in the UK, what type of transport is a green goddess?
It's a bus, bus.
It's a fire engine. Neil, in nutrition, both wheat, germ and broccoli are rich sources of folic what?
Acid.
Correct. Kelvin, in politics, who wrote the books The Downing Street Years in 1993 and The Path to Power in 1995?
Jeffrey Archer.
Margaret Thatcher. Gail, in the animal kingdom, did the muntjac deer originate in South America or Asia?
America.
Asia. Scott, in science, did Ernest Rutherford propose the nuclear model of the atom in the year 1911 or 1921?
1921.
1911.
Bank.
Tish, according to the proverb, Jack of all trades is master of what?
None.
Correct. Debbie, the scientific word for atom is derived from which language, Greek or Latin?
Greek.
Correct. Carol,
Bank.
complete the title of the 1980s children's television programme Rag Dolly who?
Pass.
Anna. Barry. Time's up. And in that first round, you won just £320 out of the possible 1,000 you could have now in the bank. Is there someone here as much out of their depth as they were last time? I think it's time to vote off the weakest link.
Scott only got one question right and lost the team money, which makes him the weakest link statistically. Although Kelvin and Carol got as many questions wrong, they each banked £100. At this early stage in the game, how will the votes go?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Scott.
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 Carol.
Carol.
Kelvin.
Neil.
Scott.
Scott, your worst nightmare has happened, hasn't it? Neil, did Scott irritate you before you got on the programme today?
Absolutely not, no. You're just consistently poor in the round, unfortunately.
Did you irritate anyone before you got on the programme?
One hopes not. Probably.
One can only hope, Neil. Kelvin, take me through why Scott was the weakest link.
I just felt that somebody had to go. He didn't get a few questions right. And he did irritate me before the show.
How many questions did you get right?
One or two.
No, one. Scott, statistically, you were the worst player. With 5 votes, you are the weakest link. For the second time on this programme, you are going out at the end of the first round. Perhaps, Scott, you need to read some more books before you come on again. Goodbye.
I guess going off in the first round of the losers game, I kind of felt like I'd done it before. If I was still remaining, I would probably vote for Carol because based on the first round, she hesitated as well as getting answers wrong.
Round 2. In the bank is £320 out of a possible 1,000 you could have won in that first round. 8 of you are going into the unknown now. The second round. We are taking 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Tish. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Tish, which character was played by Clint Eastwood in the TV series Rawhide?
Don't know.
Rowdy Yates. Debbie, complete the next line of this nursery rhyme. Hey diddle diddle what?
The Cat and the Fiddle.
Correct. Carol, in history, what A was the central area of an ancient Roman amphitheatre used by gladiators for fighting?
Arena.
Correct.
Bank.
Barry, In the 1988 comedy film A Fish Called Wanda, which actress played Wanda?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Correct. Morris. In which African country are the cities of Pretoria and Bloemfontein?
South Africa.
Correct. Neil.
Bank.
In art, what P is the name given to paintings which show a visual likeness of someone's face?
Portrait.
Correct. Kelvin. In nature, what's the name given to the waxy water-repellent coating of a leaf?
I don't know.
Cuticle. Gale. In politics in 1990, who replaced Nigel Lawson as Chancellor of the Exchequer?
Pass.
John Major. Tish. In science, does the chemical element mercury expand or contract when it's heated?
It expands.
Correct. Debbie. In history, how many times did Stanley Baldwin serve as Prime Minister of Britain?
Twice.
3. Carol. In maths, does a scalene triangle have 3 equal or unequal sides?
Unequal.
Correct. Barry. Who won the Eurovision Song Contest for Britain in 1976 with Save Your Kisses for Me?
Brotherhood of Man.
Correct. Morris. How is the footballer Luis de Nazario de Lima better known?
Pele.
Ronaldo. Neil. What nationality is Douglas Copeland, author of the 1991 novel Generation X?
American.
Canadian. Kelvin. In 1961, did President Kennedy announce the start of the Apollo or the Challenger space program?
Apollo.
Correct. Gale. Which large cat is known as the king of beasts?
Lion.
Correct. Tish.
Bank.
The Hajj is a pilgrimage made by a Muslim to which city?
Bethlehem.
Mecca. Debbie. Which 1996 musical film set in Argentina starred Antonio Banderas?
Don't Cry for Me, Argentina.
Evita. Carol. In the animal kingdom, the adult of which species of bird is larger, a goose or a swan?
Swan.
Correct. Barry.
Bank.
In which city is the headquarters of the World Health Organization?
The Hague.
Geneva. Morris. In science, is the chemical element plutonium represented by the symbol PL, PU or PM?
PL.
PU. Neil. Name the celebrity daughter of former TV presenter Johnny Ball.
Zoe Ball.
Correct. Kelvin.
Bank.
In which city in Australia? Time's up. I cannot complete the question, and in that round, you won £190 out of another possible 1,000. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Carol is the strongest link statistically, the only player to get all her questions right. Morris is the weakest link statistically. He only answered 1 question correctly and lost the most money for the team. But will the votes follow the facts?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Debbie.
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 Kelvin.
Neil.
Kelvin.
Debbie.
Right. Morris, what did you think of your performance in that last round?
Well, it wasn't great, but I thought my questions were hard. You know, if you asked me who Ronaldo was now, I still couldn't tell you. Pele is who I thought.
It wasn't the only question you got wrong.
No.
Why Debbie?
Well, I think she got a few questions same as me, but I thought her questions were easier than mine.
Guess who was the worst player in the last round, Morris?
Morris?
Correct! But no points. Debbie, with 5 votes, the team have voted you the weakest link. Goodbye.
I did feel that I hadn't answered 2 questions correctly. One of them I stumbled over quite significantly, and I felt the second time that the walk of shame was deserved. I think Kelvin should be voted off next. I don't think he's been strong over the 2 rounds that we've had so far.
Round 3, you've won £510. You could have won 2,000 by now. 7 players left. We're taking another 10 seconds off the clock. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Carol. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Carol, who co-starred with Walter Matthau in the 1968 film The Odd Couple?
Jack Lemmon.
Correct. Barry, In food, from which country do tapas bars originate?
Mexico.
Spain. Morris, which actor has been twice married to Melanie Griffiths and twice split up from her?
Don Johnson.
Correct. Neil. In literature, Notes from a Small Island is a book by Bill Bryson about which country?
UK.
Correct. Kelvin. In the animal kingdom, are the legs of a partridge bare or feathery?
Feathery.
Bare.
Bank.
Gale. In which European country was the children's author Hans Christian Andersen born?
Sweden.
Denmark. Tish. In UK politics, who is the Labour Party's longest-serving Prime Minister?
Harold Wilson.
Correct. Carol. In which Asian country during the 1930s did the famous Long March take place?
China.
Correct. Barry.
Bank.
In the children's television programme Rhubarb and Custard, which one was the dog?
Rhubarb.
Correct. Morris. Which British city is home to John Knox's house and the Royal Mile?
Edinburgh.
Correct. Neil.
Bank.
In the human body, does diphtheria affect the respiratory or the digestive system?
Respiratory.
Correct. Kelvin. In travel, what was the de Havilland Comet?
A plane.
Correct. Gail. Which actress played the character known as the girl in the 1955 film The 7-Year Itch?
Marilyn Monroe.
Correct. Tish. Which group of islands is the furthest north of all Britain's islands?
The Hebrides.
The Shetlands. Carol. Which comic actress was married to Tom Arnold and starred in a sitcom named after her?
Roseanne.
Correct. Barry. In language, does the French phrase à la carte translate to from the menu or from the table?
From the menu.
Correct. Morris. Which imperial weight measurement is also another name for the snow leopard?
The ounce.
Correct. Neil. Name the Australian who is the main presenter of BBC TV's Animal Hospital.
Rolf Harris.
Correct. Kelvin. Complete the title of this Arthur Miller play, Death of a what?
Doctor.
Salesman. Gail. Name one of the members of the pop group Steps.
Pass.
Lisa H. Fay, Lee or Claire. Tish. In sport, women competed in the Olympics for the first time in which year?
1966.
1900. Carol. In science, what's the first name of Fleming who first recognised the antibacterial properties of the penicillin mold?
Pass.
Alexander. Barry. In what year did... Time is up. I cannot complete the question. And in that round, you managed to bank only £200. One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Tish is the weakest link statistically. She only answered one question correctly and lost the team the most money. Only Neil and Barry banked any money, but how will the votes go?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Barry.
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 Kelvin.
Barry.
Gail.
Neil, is Barry irritating you?
Definitely not. No.
Then why have you voted for him?
To be quite honest, I cannot remember. I think it didn't do very well. I can't remember.
Oh, you sound very bright. Well, Barry, statistically you weren't the weakest link. Tish was. On the other hand, I don't think they voted you off because you were severe competition. With 5 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I'm angry at being voted off because once again I wasn't the weakest link, but people still chose to vote me off. The next person to go should be Carol. She's irritating and I'd be happy to see her lose.
Round 4. And of the £3,000 you could have won by now, you've managed to put in the kitty just £710. There are 6 of you left. We are taking another 10 seconds off the clock. You now have only 2.5 minutes. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Neil. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Neil, in fashion, Shantung silk is named after a province of which country?
China.
Correct. Kelvin, which Ken Kesey novel set in a mental hospital became an Oscar-winning film?
I don't know.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Gail, which organisation was founded by Robert Baden-Powell in 1908?
Pass.
The Scouts. Tish, in which modern-day country was Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, born in 1819?
Germany.
Correct. Carol, in astronomy, is Earth the second or third planet from the Sun in the solar system?
Third.
Correct. Morris, does England or the Republic of Ireland have the larger population?
England.
Correct. Neil, in the workplace, what do the initials AOB stand for on agendas and minutes?
Any other business?
Correct. Kelvin, in film, who sang the 1981 Bond theme tune For Your Eyes Only?
Oh, Elaine Page.
Sheena Easton. Gail, in which region of Italy has Tony Blair and his family spent their last 2 summer holidays?
Sicily.
Tuscany. Tish, what is the official language of Mozambique?
Spanish.
Portuguese. Carol, what S is the word commonly used in Australia for a person in charge of a cattle or other livestock?
Pass.
Stockman. Morris, which comedian was born in England, Stan Laurel or Oliver Hardy?
Stan Laurel.
Correct. Neil, in religion, in which country did Sikhism originate?
India.
Correct. Kelvin,
Bank.
from which country would a car with an E sticker come?
Spain.
Correct. Gail, in food, what's the more common name for the Chinese gooseberry?
Lychee. Oh,
Kiwi
no.
fruit. Tish, on average, do lions live longer in the wild or in captivity?
In the wild.
In captivity. Carol, in astrology, the star sign Sagittarius is represented by which image?
Archer.
Correct. Morris, in literature, How the Leopard Got Its Spots is part of which Kipling story collection?
The Jungle Book.
The Just So stories. Neil, in UK TV, what are the surnames of the comedy duo Vic and Bob?
Reeves and Mortimer.
Correct. Kelvin?
Bank.
Kiev is the capital of which Eastern European republic?
Ukraine.
Correct. Gail, in the animal
Bank.
kingdom, on which part of a horse is the fetlock?
It's tail.
The leg. Tish. Time's up, and in that round, team, you won just £190. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Gail is the weakest link statistically. She failed to answer a single question correctly. However, she did bank money for the team. Will this save her when it comes to the voting?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Gail.
Gail.
Tish.
Tish.
Kelvin.
Gail.
Morris, that's a very, very pretty name you've got there.
Well, if I
Filled it
don't-
all in.
Yeah, if I don't win this, I'll go for artistic merit, you know.
Right. I don't think you'll win that either, Morris.
No, thank you.
Why Gail?
I just thought she got too many questions wrong.
You only got 2 right, didn't you?
I only got 1 wrong.
Carol, why Gail?
She didn't seem to get any questions right.
Well, Gail, I don't know where your memory was. Boy Scouts, Tony Blair's holiday, Chinese gooseberries, horses. Statistically, you're the weakest link. The team have voted you the weakest link. Goodbye.
To go home with nothing is disappointing. To not win the show is disappointing, but at least I did it better than the last time. In the next round, I think Kelvin, the guy next to me, will go. I don't think he's bright enough, really.
Round 5. If you'd hit your targets, you'd have £4,000 by now. As it is, your total is just £900, so we're hardly reeling with admiration. 5 of you left, another 10 seconds coming off the time. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Neil. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Neil, in 1936, Jesse Owens was the star of the Olympic Games held in which city?
Berlin.
Correct. Kelvin, Which American band leader went missing when his plane disappeared over the English Channel during the Second World War?
Glenn Miller.
Correct. Tish, before reunification, the German Democratic Republic was commonly known as what?
Don't know.
East Germany. Carol, the song by Survivor, Eye of the Tiger, was the theme to the fourth in which series of films?
James Bond.
Rocky. Morris, Brendan Foster is now a leading TV commentator on which sporting activity?
Athletics.
Correct. Neil, to a reproduction of which painting did artist Marcel Duchamp famously add a moustache and a beard?
Van Gogh, the Mona Lisa.
I'll accept that. Correct. Kelvin, which 17th century English poet wrote a poem about his blindness?
I don't know.
John Milton. Tish, in politics, the Suez Crisis followed which country's nationalisation of the Suez Canal?
Panama.
Egypt's. Carol, which actor played Count Laszlo Olmazsi in the 1996 film The English Patient?
Don't know.
Ray Fiennes. Morris, on the World Wide Web, which country is represented by the CH domain?
Czechoslovakia.
Switzerland. Neil, in the children's TV show, which Teletubby loves to wear his hat?
Lala.
Dipsy. Kelvin, in geography, the Yellow Sea is an inlet of which ocean?
Yellow Sea is Indian.
Pacific. Tish, in history, George Lansbury was a politician from which party?
Conservative.
Labour Party. Carol, in which film did the Beatles first appear together?
Hard Day's Night.
Correct. Morris, in classical music, in which European city did the composer Chopin die?
Vienna.
Paris. Neil, which artist's daughter Paloma is a jewellery designer and scent creator?
Picasso.
Correct.
Bang.
Kelvin, in history, Khalid served as king of which country from 75 until his death? Time's up. The correct answer is Saudi Arabia. What a spectacular performance. A chain of 7 wrong answers. £70 you won in that round. One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Neil is the strongest link in this round as he answered the most questions correctly. For the second time in the game, Tish is the weakest link statistically, the only player to get all her questions wrong. Can she survive another vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Tish.
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 Kelvin.
Tish.
Kelvin, have you and Tish got a thing going?
I think we've had a bit of going over the last 2 or 3 rounds, haven't we?
Yeah.
Oh, she started it though.
She? She's voted for you to get you rid of you for the last 4 rounds.
Oh, was it? Oh, I thought it was only 3.
How many times have you voted for her?
Twice?
Right. Because she voted for you?
Absolutely.
Right. You didn't have much of a round, did you?
No, I'm really pleased I got Glenn Miller right though. Whew.
Yeah. Tish, you voted for Kelvin for 4 rounds, but actually, you're going off before him. Are you too young to remember before the Berlin Wall?
No, I missed half the question and I thought,
The rest of the team have decided you are the weakest link, so you can go there outside. Goodbye.
Even though I got voted off unanimously, I'm very happy that I managed to get through to round 5. In the next round, I think it will probably be Kelvin. I know I voted for him 4 times. He's a lovely guy, but I think he will be out this next round.
Round 6, team. And of the £5,000 you could have won, you've managed to put in the bank just 970. 4 of you left. We are cutting another 10 seconds from your time. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Neil. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Neil, how many adrenal glands are there in the human body?
1.
2. Kelvin, Which tea clipper is on display at Greenwich?
Cutty Sark.
Correct. Carol. Which American author wrote the novel Naked Lunch, published in 1959?
Quentin.
William Burroughs. Morris. Which Australian supermodel and actress is referred to as the Body?
Ellie Macpherson.
Correct. Neil. In film, which English actress played Miss Kenton in the 1993 period drama Remains of the Day?
Emma Thompson.
Correct. Kelvin.
Bank.
Which American state is known as the Potato State?
Wyoming.
Idaho. Carol. In which decade was David Frost knighted in the New Year's Honours List?
1960s.
1990s. Morris. On a UK road sign, what does a red car and a black car inside a red circle mean?
Single file traffic.
No overtaking. Neil. In politics, who first challenged Margaret Thatcher in the leadership of the Conservative Party in 1990?
Michael Heseltine.
Correct. Kelvin. In food, when milk is made into cheese, it's separated into two parts. Name one.
Whey.
Correct. Carol. In the animal kingdom, the black Norfolk is a breed of what?
Chicken.
Turkey. Morris. Which actor co-starred with George Cole at the start of the TV series Minder?
Dennis Waterman.
Correct. Neil. In classical music, who composed the opera Aida?
Verdi.
Correct. Kelvin.
Bank.
In ancient history, Lasham was an area in the central part of which European country?
Italy.
Correct. Carol. Who sang Good Morning with Gene Kelly and Donald O'Connor in the film Singin' in the Rain?
Pass.
Debbie Reynolds. Morris. What was the first name of the English explorer Captain Scott who died in the Antarctic?
Robert Falcon.
Correct. Neil. In which decade was the breathalyzer introduced in Britain?
80s.
1960s. Kelvin. Which former Baywatch star Pamela Anderson was married to which American rocker?
Tommy somebody.
Tommy Lee. Carol. Which architect was responsible for the Brighton Pavilion, Marble Arch and the remodeled Buckingham Palace? Time's up. The correct answer was John Nash. And in that round, team, you won just £100. One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Morris is the strongest link, although Kelvin was the only player to bank any money for the team. The weakest link statistically is Carol, as she got all her questions wrong. But how will the votes go?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Carol.
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 Kelvin.
Right. Morris, what happened to you in the last round?
I'm still here.
Yeah, you were the strongest link in the last round.
Oh, right.
Why
Thank you.
Carol?
I just think she struggled.
Right. They want you off, Carol. With 3 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
To go out at this stage, I am very disappointed because I thought I was doing quite well up until then, and I thought Kelvin would have gone out before I did. But he's scraping through the skin of his teeth.
Round 7, team, you have £1,070 out of the 6,000 you could have won. 3 of you left, another 10 seconds off the clock. We start with the strongest link from the last round, that's Morris. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Morris, in the animal kingdom, the gibbon is native to which continent?
Africa.
Asia. Neil, in TV's EastEnders, what is the name of the new family who moved into number 23 Albert Square in September 2000?
Slater.
Correct. Kelvin, in boxing, who defeated Sonny Liston in 1964 to become world heavyweight champion for the first time?
Cassius Clay.
I'll accept that. Muhammad Ali. Morris, in which children's TV programme were the characters Dobby, Mr Claypole and Hazel the McWitch?
Pass.
Rent-A-Ghost. Neil, in geography, Freetown is the capital of which African country?
Sierra Leone.
Correct. Kelvin, which modern classic novel by Evelyn Waugh is narrated by the character Charles Ryder and features Sebastian Flyte?
I've got no idea.
Brideshead Revisited. Morris, in the UK, St George's Hospital Medical School is part of which university?
University of London.
Correct. Neil, what's the usual French translation for the English word day?
Jour.
Correct. Kelvin.
Bank.
Harrison Ford played Dr. Richard Kimball in which 1993 film?
Richard Kimball, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
The Fugitive. Morris. An eland is what type of animal from Africa?
Gazelle.
An antelope. Neil. In the year 2000, which American singer asked the UN to shut down a pornographic website which shared her name?
Madonna.
Correct. Kelvin.
Bank.
In which year was the TV series Only Fools and Horses first broadcast?
Year 1979.
1981. Morris. In an American restaurant, which term describes a dish containing both seafood and meat?
Pass.
Surf and turf. Neil. Who is the author of the anthropological book The Naked Ape?
Pass.
Desmond Morris. Kelvin. In which Canadian city is McGill University?
Montreal.
Correct. Morris.
Bank.
In the TV soap opera Dallas, which character was played by Larry Hagman?
JR.
Time's up. That was the correct answer. And you only banked £90. Now, let me remind you about round 8. You get the chance to treble what you bank, and that means in the next round, there's £3,000 to be won. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Having been the strongest player in the last round, Morris is this round's weakest link with only one right answer. At this crucial stage in the game, can his earlier performance save him?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Kelvin.
Kelvin.
Morris.
Neil, why Kelvin?
Some fairly easy questions wrong. Yeah.
You would have got them right, would you?
Yeah.
You got one wrong, didn't you?
Yeah.
Kelvin, with 2 votes. The team have voted you the weakest link. Goodbye.
Compared to my first visit, where I got knocked out in the first round after only answering one question right, I did ride my luck this time through to the last 3. I got some hard questions right, but also, I guess, got some easy questions wrong. I think Neil will win the last round and pocket the money. He just seems a little bit more on the ball than Morris. Morris was the weakest link in the last round that I was in, so tip balance towards Neil.
Round 8. In the bank is £1,160. By now you could have won £7,000. Neil and Morris, just the 2 of you left, and this time you have 90 seconds. But whatever you win in this round will be trebled and added to your total to make up your final prize money. So, £3,000 is at stake in this round. We start with the strongest link from the last round, that's Neil. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Neil, novelist James Joyce was born in Ireland and died in which country?
United Kingdom.
Switzerland. Morris, in medicine, which organ is affected by Bright's disease?
The kidneys.
Correct. Neil, and what's the British name for the hat known to Americans as a derby?
Bowler.
Correct. Morris, what's the official language of Tunisia?
Arabic.
Correct. Neil, what nationality was the author Franz Kafka?
Swiss.
Check. Morris, playwright Alan Ayckbourn is the artistic director of the Stephen Joseph Theatre in which town?
Scarborough.
Correct. Neil, in which English town is the main site of Brunel University?
London.
Uxbridge. Morris, what colour is the cross on the Swiss flag?
Red.
White. Neil, which desert covers much of northwest Africa?
Sahara.
Correct. Morris, in which year did the aviator Louis Blériot first fly over the English Channel?
1908.
1909. Neil, which actress played Susie in the 1989 film The Fabulous Baker Boys?
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer, correct. Morris, which state in America is the biggest oil producer?
Oklahoma.
Alaska. Neil, in what country would you be if you bought something today with a ruble?
Russia.
Correct.
Bank.
Morris, which Baptist minister was assassinated in Memphis on the 4th of April, 1968?
Martin Luther King.
Correct.
Bank.
Neil. Time's up. You banked just in time. And having voted off 7 weaker links, you didn't make it to £1,000 in that round. You didn't even make it to £100 or £50. You won £40. Never mind, we'll treble that and add it to the winnings from the previous rounds. That means prize money today of £1,280. But of course, only one of you can take that money away. So now you will be playing against each other head to head. I'll ask alternate questions. The best of 5, whoever answers the most correctly wins. It's as simple as that. If there's a tie after 5, we'll go for sudden death until we have a winner. So, Neil and Morris for £1,280. Let's play the weakest link. Morris, as the strongest link in the last round, you have the choice of who goes first.
I'll go first.
Morris, in which county is Buckland Abbey, the former home of Sir Francis Drake?
Hampshire.
Correct answer is Devon. Neil, in the animal kingdom, why is the basilisk lizard also known as the Jesus Christo or Jesus Christ lizard?
Because it lives in thorns.
No, the correct answer is it can walk on water. Morris, in science, the name of which gas means water producer in Greek?
Hydrogen.
That's the correct answer. Neil, which children's TV cartoon features characters called Penfold and Baron von Greenback?
Danger Mouse.
That's the correct answer. Morris, in sport, on the Olympic flag, the rings of the upper row are blue, black and red. What colour are the 2 rings on the lower row?
Brown and yellow.
The correct answer is yellow and green. Neil, which Umberto Eco novel is set in a monastery and has been made into a film starring Sean Connery?
Name of the Rose.
That's the correct answer. Morris, this year it was announced that an island once owned by which screen legend is going to be sold by the Jamaican government?
Douglas Fairbanks.
Correct answer is Errol Flynn. Neil, if you answer this question correctly, you've won. So Neil, for £1,280. In politics, Baroness J of Paddington and which former Prime Minister are the only father and daughter to be members of the House of Lords?
Jim Callaghan.
That is the correct answer. Right, Neil, last time you didn't make it past the first round. This time, you are the strongest link and you go away with £1,280. Morris, you leave with nothing. Join us again for the weakest link. Goodbye.
I chose to go first. In retrospect, I should have gone second because I think I would have done better. I knew the answers that he got.
If Morris had chosen to go second and myself first, which is what I would have wanted, I wouldn't have won. He got some real difficult questions. The Jamaican Island one, who knows that one? So I was very lucky to be second.